So today we will be covering on second topic, that is housing and stable management. In the last class we were discussing about the population dynamics, about the R's. During discussion we learned that 98% of the population lies with the poor people and only 2% lies with the elite people. When it comes to this part, housing and stable management, generally there is no compromise with the race horses or horses which are kept for the breeding purpose, which call them as a stud farm, because they are maintained by the elite people. So for them there is no financial constraint. But most of the compromises happens with the poor people, who generally maintain their animal either in their own house or on the backyard or in the front yard. So there is a possibility of compromise. So during this course, we will see that what are the norms which are generally given for the proper equine husbandry. Why should I have good housing? Okay. We all know that horse spends approximately 18 to 20 hours per day in its stable. Unlike other species like sheep, goat, cattle, mostly they are ruminants, they are always busy in ruminating. Either they will be eating or ruminating or they will be lying down. But in case of horse, either they will be taken out of the stable for the race purpose, and rest of the times again they are brought back to the stable. Okay. And another uniqueness with this species is that they try to spend or they try to take rest in standing position only. Hardly they spend 1 to 2 hours in the lying down position. Okay. So that's why stable design or stable management can have a direct effect on the health of these species. So faulty stables not only affect the health status of the animals, but also causes direct physical trauma. Horse, you all know that skin is very thin. Okay, even if there is any minor cut, these animals are very much prone for the tetanus. So you should make sure that there are no faulty stables, so that unnecessary injuries are going to happen with this species. And these animals are very much prone for these stable vices. Whenever these animals are kept, so they exhibit typically a feeding bout. ठीक है, कुछ देर के लिए खाना खाएंगे, फिर वो रेस्ट लेंगे, कुछ देर के लिए खाना खाएंगे, रेस्ट लेंगे, because they are monogastric animals. Okay, so they are very prone for the boredom. So whenever there is a boredom, so they are more likely to get or develop any type of stable vices. वो भी अगर faulty stables होगा तो और chances ज्यादा है. Additionally, the main design of this stable should not only reduce the labor cost, but also it should ensure the safety of the under house. इसलिए housing is very, very important for the horse. So wherever it is possible, we cannot straight away make a rule that you should keep like this only, but wherever it is possible, wherever there is a liberty to spend little more amount for these species, so better to make some improvement. Otherwise, you might have heard of that statement, no food, no horse. Even if there is a poor hygienic in the stable due to faulty floor or any, for that matter, anything faulty in the stable may lead to the lameness. If there is a lameness, you cannot take any work from these animals. So that's why housing play an important role. Where we keep the animal, we call it as a stable. There's a other species may we try to use the different words. Like if you take pig, we call it as a sty or pen. ठीक है, यहाँ भी sty मतलब the whole building के लिए कहते हैं, stable भी whole building के लिए कहते हैं. It's a place where animals are kept. और within the stable there can be a stalls, there can be a loose box. जैसे piggery farm में within the sty there can be a farrowing pen, there can be a boar pen, individual boxes. Okay, similarly, it is a building where animals are kept, we call it as a stable. properly constructed stable will provide the comfort to the animals as well as to the attendants. And these stables can be constructed in one row or two rows with central passage, depending upon the how many animals you are owning or maintaining, and also how much you have liberty to spend the amount on the housing. Okay. Next question arises, where it should be located. So as I told you in the beginning itself, those people who are maintaining one or two animal for their livelihood, either to use for the pulling of the tanga or to use it as a pack animal to take the bricks in the brick kiln factory or for the construction site. For them, everything is compromised. जहां जगह है वही थोड़ा सा ठीक ठाक से झोपड़ी बनाएंगे वहीं रखेंगे. So for that situation, so there is no question of choosing a location or posing a location. Okay, but those animals which are mainly reared for the or bred for the race purpose, जिसको हम stud farm कहते हैं, tough club कहते हैं, then the choosing a place or location of the stud farms is becomes very important issue. Okay. Generally, in case of other species like dairy होगा, sheep होगा, goat होगा, वहाँ meat animal हो सकता है, milk animal हो सकता है. We generally first and foremost thing it should be adjacent to the road. यहाँ वो question does not arise because every day there is no produce from these animals. Every day there is no question of transporting from one place to another place. Okay, so that's where that point does not arise. But all other points will hold good here also. Stable should not be positioned near the dust source, such as large hay sheds or grain dryers. Means, since these animals are very much prone for the dust allergy, you should choose a place where they are free from the dust and also free from the pollution, or you can say air pollution. Okay. Trees in close proximity can cause problem with the leaves blocking drains, yet and alternatively may be useful in providing the windbreaks in exposed sites. For other species, generally, if you take an example of dairy farm, we will try to plant a tree just in the open paddock, just to provide the shadows. Similarly, here also we can use them as a windbreaker, but you should also make sure that they are not going to block the drains. Rows of boxes may be staggered down a slope or slight hill, again to get full advantage of morning sun to all boxes. Similarly, the way you discuss for the other species, the long axis of the housing should be east-west so that the sun rays can enter into the house inside also, and also it will take care of the open paddock also. Okay, same thing here also, and avoid steep slopes. This is about the selection of the site. Now, types of stables. जो स्टेबल के अंदर depending upon which type of infrastructure you are going to use, that we call them as a type of stables. Either there can be a stall tables or loose box stables. ठीक है. Stalls में क्या होता है? They are individual rooms within the stable where R's are tied. Left box में आप देख सकते हैं जहां बांधने के लिए सुविधा दिया गया है. There is a major, there is a tying system. On the other hand, loose box where horses are let loose, okay, and here more space is provided, and there is no restriction as they can lie very comfortably, okay, without any much discomfort. Okay, so this is the major difference. So in loose box space is more, here space is less. There is no tying, there is a tying. Further, supervision and handling of animals is always easier than the later. In case of stall, क्योंकि बांध के रखते हैं आपको, you need not catch hold every time to observe the animals individually. However, in case of loose box, you may, if at all, if you want to make a close observation of the body or leg or hoof region, then you may have to use some restraining implements or devices like head collar, bridle, okay, head collar, bridle. So these things you may have to put over the neck and then you have to catch hold the animals, okay. In case of stalls, since space is limited, so naturally construction cost comes down. On the other hand, since loose box, the space is provided more, naturally cost involved is more. But jahan there is no financial constraint, certainly you would prefer the loose box because it gives more comfort to the animals, okay. But however, you can think of combination of both also, depending upon what type of farm it is. Suppose if it is a stud farm, okay, generally or preferably they maintain loose box because they want to give more liberty to the breeding animal, whether it's a sire or dam, okay. But when it comes to tough club, if it is attached to stud farm, then you can go for the combination of both stalls as well as loose box. So when you say stalls, okay, they are the individual rooms where there is a tying facility, and they can be constructed with a single row or double row depending upon your capacity or depending upon your requirement. Certainly, to increase the efficiency, two-row system is always advisable. Okay. Suppose if you are maintaining a two rows, then the breadth of the stable would be around 9.45. If it is a single row, it is a 5.5. In case of double row, what happens? The veranda or center passage will be common. Okay. Otherwise, it should have been 11 meter, but it becomes 9.45 meter. Okay. And within the individual stalls, breadth and of the whole building ho gaya, within the individual stalls, each should measure 1.7 to 1.85 wide and 3.35 long. Okay. Here also there is no hard and fast rule. Okay. This is a range given so that the maximum comfort is given. Instead of 1.7, if you give 1.4 also, it does not make much difference. But you should make sure that horse is able to lie down properly within the individual stall. Okay. In a similarly, if you take it in a detailed way, the same thing what we discussed in the previous slide. So that has been shown in the standing stall. Okay. Width wahi dikhaya dekhiye 1.7, length 3.3. And walking places. Same thing it was shown here also, 1.7 to 1.85, 3.3. Okay. But if that were to be a box, jahan बांध के नहीं रखते हैं, so you see the space requirement both length and width, it is relatively more. Okay. For ponies, it is 3/3. Horse foaling means that is just like cowing box. Okay. 3.6 into 3.6. Isolation box means where whenever you suspect for some disease, so you will keep them separately. So in that case, it is 5.5 into 5 into 5. Okay. Then if you take the door, height is 2.4, width is 1.2, again, which we'll be discussing later also. So when you say door, here also there could be different types. So there is no hard and fast rule that it should be like this or like that. It all depends upon how costly your hours are and how supervised you make. Okay. Otherwise, sliding doors can be very useful. Their safety and reliability can be improved considerably if you use the sliding door. ठीक है, sliding door मतलब जैसे आमतौर से जो गेट होता है sliding type होगा, means there are no hinges, बाहर और अंदर नहीं निकलेगा, simply it will slide down all along the wall. Okay. Otherwise, off doors wherein the top and bottom portion opens separately. Right side में आप फोटोग्राफ देख सकते हैं, नीचे वाला आधा हिस्सा बंद है, ऊपर वाला हिस्सा खुला है. ठीक है. तो दिस ऑल्सो इज पॉसिबल. ठीक है. इसमें एक एडवांटेज ये है, नीचे वाला तो बंद ही रहेगा मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम, बट ऊपर वाला, so it will help in the weaving of other arches. What is going on around the stall, okay, other animals also can what you can say observe it. This is one way. So thereby it will prevent the boredom. But sometimes you may require to close the top portion of the door also. अगर आपको कहीं लग रहा है सामने वाला हॉर्स में कोई वाइस है, it can be bar biting, okay, pawing, crib biting, okay, anything type, any type of vices, if it is observed in the horse which is in front of the another animal, so then you may have to close the top portion of the door also. Okay, so that provision should be there. Otherwise, if you think that we have very few horses and every day they are engaged, wherein there is a less possibility of catching the vices, such situation, simple pipes which you can see on the left hand. Okay, a simple pipes can be provided so that will act as a barrier. Okay, so otherwise height and width, as I told you, so 1.2 and height is 2.4. Windows. Okay, so windows should be capable of admitting plenty full supply of sunlight as well as proper ventilation. Okay, simple एक window होगा जिसमें you can close and you can open, both it is required, because if simply the door is open without any closing provision, sometimes during the rainy season due to thunderstorm, okay, due to that heavy rainfall, these animals will get frightened very quickly because of lightning. Okay, so and there is a possibility of colic also due to sudden thunderstorm. So in that time, you should have a provision to close this door also. Okay. So if you want, if you don't want, then you can keep it open. That provision should be there. Passage means it's a veranda, central passage. Okay. The chief requirement of this passage is to take the animals comfortably out and in. Okay. At any given time. So there should be a provision of 2 horses taking at a time. So that's why in the previous slides also, so I told you here you can see this width. Okay, so this is central passage, including it is 5.5. If it's a double row, it is a 9.45, depending upon the situation.
So within the individual stall, there should be provision for feeding the green fodder, dry fodder, and concentrate. So in order to provide chopped green fodder or chopped hay and also concentrate, we can construct a manger either in the circular form or in the linear form in the corner of the stall or all along the wall. So while providing or while constructing this manger, we should make sure that the length, width, and depth of this manger should be 75, 45, 30 centimeter respectively. Height at the inner wall should be 60 centimeter. It means that at least 2 height at the inner wall should be maintained so that it is more convenient to eat by the horse. So this type of manger is sufficient to take care of the feeding either the green fodder or the fodder. But there is a practice to provide intact or unchopped barley or wheat straw, and horse also try to enjoy these type of intact horse. So there is a practice of providing hay racks in the corner of these stalls, which is made up of iron material at a little bit elevated area. By provision of this hay rack facility in the stall will not only reduces the waste but also avoids the contamination. So this is purely optional, and these manger facilities or air rack facilities can also be provided in the loose box. The facility remains same.
Floor. So since these are all single hoofed animal, there is a possibility of slippage if there are no grips. And these animals, if they get slipped and if falls down, first and foremost thing is they get injured. It means that again tetanus, or otherwise they may show some lameness. So that's why the floor should be waterproof, free from the slipperiness, and should be cheap. The gradient, of course, it is as same as in case of other housing structure, that is 1 in 40 or 1 in 60, we say that. So that's a normal gradient is required for the washing purpose. Drain within the stable should be simple and easily cleanable. Covered drains or laid pipes within the stable can clog quickly with most feed and bedding materials. So that's why it is always preferred to have a open type of drainage within the stalls. Okay. Ancillary structures. In addition to the stables, जहां हम लोग different categories of animal रखते हैं, उसके अलावा we may require some additional infrastructure. So one is tack room or saddle and harness room, okay, wherein we keep all this type of bridle, head collar, okay, saddles. So all related bedding material, clothing material, bandages, okay. So all these material have to be kept maintained in one particular room, so that we call it as a tack room. And additionally, you may require colic room or colic room, whichever way you can pronounce it. So since these animals are very prone for colic, which is considered as the abdominal pain, sometimes it's a psychological, sometimes it is a physiological, sometimes it is a pathological. But these every now and then one or other animals will come across this type of colic. Okay, whenever there is a colic, there is a severe abdominal pain. Due to that abdominal pain, animals will try to lie down and get up very frequently. Okay, so if you allow such animal to remain in the same stable or stall where it is tied or kept, okay, so there is a fair chance to get injured due to the projections of door, due to hinges, okay, due to pipes. So as and when you see such incidents, then you will bring that horse and keep it in the colic room. And this colic room is nothing but a circular room wherein there are no projections. Okay, So any number of times it can lie down, because in the bottom also there will be a soft sand material, or you can say mud, so that it will not make any type of injury to the animals, which is also considered as an ancillary structure. Okay.